We could keep this going on. There's so much stuff I was going to ask you, but we won't do that to you. But
What were you going to say?
I love to talk.
Yeah, that's all right. But we got to talk about Bill a little bit, and I did want to ask you about your record store. Do you still have that?
The record store. Actually, I shut that down in 2018.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Bill, I saw the video. I said I could hang out. I could see myself hanging out in that place for hours every day.
It was basically my collection in my bedroom that everybody could come into and maybe buy something. You know?
Yeah.
But
It did look cool.
Yeah. I designed a sign on the building and everything. I'd have people come by.
Oh, that was cool.
Just taking pictures of the sign, not even stopping,
What was it called? Monster Vinyl.
Monster Vinyl.
I thought that was an awesome name too. Yeah.
So what we did, we took the idea of, like horror films, monsters, and mixing the two with music, because I mean that's no mystery. I mean, rock stars do that. You know what I mean? Look at Alice Cooper. Look at Kiss. Look at there's something about horror and music. Rock music, and and plus we had vintage toys, collectible toys, maybe some Planet of the Apes there, Danny.
There you go.
Yeah,
my favorite movie. My favorite 3 movies, Bill, of all time. I have 3 though. Planet of the Apes from 1968 is number 1.
Yeah.
Jaws is number 2.
I'm with you.
Rocky. I love Rocky. So
Did you love Rocky?
They're my 3 favorite films of all time. But Planet of the Apes is number 1.
That's awesome, man. I'll tell you, I love all those movies too. And but yeah, Planet of the Apes, man, I loved it. And Jaws, of course. I mean, I still watch Jaws today.
It's one of those things when you're turning the TV, you've seen it a million times, but if it's on, you stop.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? Because we remember those years of cars that we're seeing passing by.
Oh yeah.
We remember the clothes that those people are wearing, and so it's a little time travel for us.
Yes, that's true.
But here's something interesting. Okay, so now Jaws. We're talking about Jaws. In 1975, when you saw Jaws, you didn't want to get in the lake.
Nope.
You didn't even want to get in the swimming pool, and you could see the bottom. It was scary, right? It because you can't see this thing, right, until it comes up and gets you, bites you.
Yeah, it's the way it was filmed.
Right?
Okay, I said I had a little quiz for you because I know you're a pop culture guy. I'm just going to give you 2 things. You say one or the other. Which is your pick?
Oh boy!
All right, this is going to be fun. We're going to get to know Bill Cherry really well here.
He does this to me live on the show, so good luck.
Number 1, Frankenstein or Wolfman?
Oh, that's a hard one. You had to go there. Now you're talking about the old
the classics, Universal.
Okay. Ah, man, that's so hard,
isn't it?
You know what? If we're talking about the first Frankenstein and the first Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr., is that what we're talking about?
Yes, we are.
Okay, Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney Jr.
All right.
I think that I was probably more on those 2. Wolfman.
Me too. There you go. Me too. All right, this is an easy one for you, probably. The Beatles or the Beach Boys?
Beatles.
All right. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Ooh. You know what? I got to go with Star Trek.
Me too.
Yeah,
All right, me too. Andy Griffith Show or I Love Lucy?
Andy Griffith.
Me too.
No, I Love Lucy.
Superman or Batman?
Okay, so are we talking about the newer movies or the older?
Any of the characters alone?
I think I would go with Superman, and here's why. Because the Batman's when it became a dark thing,
right?
I wasn't. Something happened. Something has happened in the world where they took all of our superheroes that we grew up with, and they made their bright colors dark colors.
Yeah, I see that.
We
Yeah,
noticed that. Yeah.
Everything has been darkened down.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I couldn't stand it whenever Batman became Batman in the movies, and he started talking like this.
I was going to say that too.
I'm an Adam West man forever.
Yeah, I am Adam West.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Give me the old Batman from '66, and their car was cool.
All right.
And
the classic Batmobile '66 by far the best.
Is the best.
You should build one of them. You built Robbie the Robot. Why don't you build a Batmobile next? That'd be cool.
Well, look, let me tell you the reason why. I built Robbie the Robot out of trash cans and flower pots. I don't think I could have done that.
I saw the video. It's amazing. I said, how did he do that? It's unbelievable.
Oh my God. Well, let me tell you a story on that. So So as a kid, it was Lost in Space, right?
Yeah.
And so Lost in Space robot. I started as a kid trying to find things that looked like that robot, and I wanted to build one, right? And so because I didn't have a whole lot of friends, as a kid, like human beings, and I watched that show, and Will Robinson had that robot, right?
Yeah,
I was like, man, he's always on his side. He's always there with him, and I need a robot. I need a
there
robot.
You go.
And so, but anyway, needless to say, I was looking for washing machine tubs, and I pretty much had everything that I thought I could make a robot that kind of looked like him, but I could not find his head. I couldn't find that bubble, right?
Right.
And so that's where it got stumped. So, but I always liked Robbie as well, because the designer of the Lost in Space and Robbie are the same guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so Robbie the robot, he looked a little meaner, a little cooler. But he looked like he was made out of cannonballs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything was round. And so I got this idea that, man, if I can make a Robbie the robot and make it into a costume that I could wear in a Halloween costume contest, I might win, right?
Yeah.
And so I was on a mission, and I'm looking for everything. I started going to hardware stores, looking for anything that looked similar to the parts that I needed without fabricating. So I had to get creative. I found a trash can, an upper part of a trash can that you would see at a gas station.
Right.
And I made the body out of that. The legs were basically solid bowls connecting into each other.
That's unbelievable.
And his head was an upside down flower pot.
Oh my God!
And
Bill, you would never know this. Looking at the thing, your finished product.
And you know what? You know what? I almost wanted to write a book, how to make your own Robbie the robot for under $500.
Well, now when you retire from the ETA world, that's what you should do. Build Robbies. You'd make a fortune.
I'm telling you, Dan will be your first customer.
Yes, I want one.
You know what's sad though? I probably couldn't find those same parts today because that was years ago.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. Or they'll be different now.
I was working on him, and I started putting lights in him, and then I realized that I can never fit in it with all these wires inside. And so that's when he became stationary, and I've had him ever since.
Where's he at now?
Really cool.
Where do you have him at right now?
He's in I have a toy room. Now come clean now, Dan. Do you have old toys that you used to have?
I still have my Mego Fonzie doll. I still have my mugs and all kind of stuff. Yes, sir.
Hey.
Absolutely. Thumbs up action. What's that?
Hey, funny story, Danny. When I was in junior high,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in junior high, I got me a motorcycle coat, right?
Uh-oh.
And I slicked my hair back, and I think I might have been in the 7th grade, and there was 9th graders at the school. Well, the 9th graders kind of saw me, in the hallways and stuff, and they wanted to kind of start picking on me, right?
Oh yeah.
And so you know what they were saying to me? They I remember it like yesterday. They would call me the Fonz.
Uh-oh.
They would call me the Fonz, right? And I was thinking to myself, you idiot! I don't wear this because of the Fonz. I'm wearing this because of Elvis.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it because of Elvis. I mean, I had sideburns when I was in junior high.
Right, you were ahead of the game.
And so it's like,
All right,
I thought to myself, man, you guys are so out of touch with stuff.
They don't know the good stuff.
All right, I got 5 more for you, Bill. You ready?
Okay,
it's not over yet.
Yes, the torture's not over. Captain Crunch or Honeycomb?
Captain Crunch.
All right. I think you might know the answer to this because you mentioned this earlier. The Munsters or the Addams Family?
Oh, Monsters, definitely.
Me too. Johnny Quest or Scooby-Doo?
That's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
I love the music played in Scooby-Doo and the little storylines, but I kind of like Johnny Quest.
There you go. All right, 2 more for you. Monopoly or Battleship?
Battleship.
All right, here's the big one. This is a very tough one, but I bet I want to guess which one you're going to go with. Number 10, Mary Ann or Ginger?
Oh,
Oh
well,
my gosh.
I mean, it depends on what do you want for supper tonight, steak or chicken?
There you go. There you go. All right, I had to do that to you. I'm sorry, but
I'll tell you what. I think Mary Ann, because she was more down to earth. Ginger
Right.
was too Hollywood, but she was pretty.
Yeah.
Good.
Very pretty ladies.
Ginger was sitting there by Elvis when he came back from the army. You know
Yeah,
that?
I seen. Yeah, Tina Louise.
Oh, yeah.
Tina Louise.
All right, Tia, we got to talk to Bill about the big concerts coming up here in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. So Niagara Falls, Canada, April 10th through the 13th. Do you already know what your set's going to be? What's your show going to be that night?
You know what? I put together a set, and but they're asking me for some more songs, so I have to. That's something I need to get with Marco on, because he did email me about that.
I got to tell you, we love Bill when you do the stuff that Elvis didn't do live.
Oh yeah.
I think it's great when you do like Moody Blue and if you talk in your sleep, whatever. It's great.
And I started doing those types of songs because I never heard anybody doing them.
Yeah.
And I thought, it would be a bit of a change from the norm.
Yes.
Because you know what I mean. Let's face it. The live albums they released on Elvis, most of those albums had the same songs.
Yeah.
They never really varied much, with the exception of like maybe the Memphis '74 album. Where he did "Why Me Lord" and "Help Me" and stuff like that. But which I found interesting, because I know Elvis did other songs in those concerts. Only till recently did I discover through a video I saw that Elvis would take requests from the audience. I never ever thought he would do that.
Yeah, we play a lot of outtakes, and you can hear the audience yelling up at him, and he'll say, "What was the one we just recently did where he was going to do I Was the One?"
Yeah.
Somebody yelled, and he goes, "I was the one," and he turns around and he goes, "What do you think?" And then he just starts doing it.
And he also did the one in German.
Yeah, he did a German. We try to find those rare outtakes where you can hear
Wooden
him
Heart.
do Wooden Heart from the stage, which was different.
Wow. I just never thought. I always thought that it was a scripted thing, and he never did vary from it.
No, he does sometimes.
That was good. That was good to do.
I seen a performance you did, Bill, a while back too, where you're just wearing the blue leisure suit that Elvis wore, the sweatsuit, I guess you would call it.
The sweatsuit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you're it's a small group, and you're just kind of doing Moody Blue stuff and all that. That's pretty cool.
Ginger was there. Wasn't that when she was there?
Ginger was there. Yeah. We was doing the Jungle Room sessions, and
that's
that was
what it
in
was.
Nashville.
That was an awesome video.
Oh, thank you, hon. It was when they came to me with that idea. I thought, wow, that would be cool, because I don't have to wear a jumpsuit, and it would be basically a recording session reenactment, and what's cool about that is that you might mess up. Well, you know what? Start it again.
The thing is, Bill, a lot of people couldn't pull that off, but Bill Cherry did very, very good.
I really appreciate that. And you know what? And I got to tell you, with Ginger in the room, I was very nervous. Now,
I bet you were.
Now I found out that Ginger came into Elvis's life after the Jungle Room session, so she didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
She wasn't there, so she after the show, she told me that, she says I wasn't there, and but I felt like I seen it tonight. You know what I mean? So when you hear stuff like that makes it all worthwhile. You know what I mean? It was it was so cool to have her there, because she was with Elvis in those last days.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a woman, I kept thinking to myself, what is she thinking sitting over there? Because you have everything down, and you're looking the part and everything, and she's got to be going, wow, this is a flashback.
So when we was rehearsing before they opened the doors to everyone, and so a friend of mine, Norm Brewer, is the one that brought Ginger to the show, and he told me he was going to bring her. So they came into a back entrance, and somebody had opened up the door, the side door, where there was a room where the back entrance was, and I was standing there. And that door swung open for a moment, and I saw Ginger, and she was looking right at me when that door flew open. She looked up and she saw me, and I saw like almost her jaw drop, right?
Yeah.
And then the door shut, and so I asked my friend Norm. I said, he said, "Did you see Ginger when that door opened?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "It looked like to me like her jaw dropped or something." I said, "What was it?" And she said, Norm told me that she said that to her, she said it was like I just seen a ghost.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I was
She just
thinking.
got a quick glimpse, and I was in that jogging suit with the glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, he said she froze, there for a second.
Yeah,
like,
it's got to be so emotional for them, for all the ladies.
Oh, it has to. Yeah, it has to be a thing. Whereas, just to see a glimpse of something, it's like, whoa,
You do look close, because when we were watching the show in Canada, there was a big monitor right by our seats, and every once in a while I look up and I'd say, "Look, Trish, he looks like Elvis there." That side view. I said, "That looks just like Elvis," for a second.
He was checking all that out.
Yeah.
We saw the show where you did the what was that? Where he did the moon, the full moon.
That was in Canada.
Oh my gosh, I never laughed so hard. Again, I'm not getting up. I'm just gonna sit here and pee my pants. I don't want to miss nothing. It was so funny.
The funny thing, you know what, and this is kind of why I think I like the 77 or 70, 73 on up, is because Elvis kind of he let down the guard. He let down the from what we've seen from Elvis on tour and this and that. It's almost like, I don't want to say the coolness that he had, because Elvis was cool, but he let the people in a little bit. You know what I mean? He laughed with them. They got to see a side of him.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, when people are staring at you or whatever, either you get mad or you laugh or whatever. They laugh. He knows they're laughing. Like when he forgets the words to what is this?
Sure.
Are You Lonesome Tonight? Right?
Yeah.
He starts laughing, right? And when he laughs, everybody laughs.
Exactly.
And now it's just a big joke. And but you can see him making goofy faces at Cheryl Nielsen when he's singing "O Sole Mio." The camera will catch him, and he's trying to crack up Cheryl Nielsen while he's singing it. He's trying to make a face to make him laugh. And
he had a funny sense of humor.
Elvis was quite a jokester. Of course, like some of his favorite movies were the
Pink Panther.
Pink Panthers, right? And so he loved the comedy stuff, and he loved, I think as time passed, he got a little more looser and a little more, relaxed, and
he did comedy well himself in the movies. If you watch Tickle Me or some of the movies.
Great timing.
Oh, most definitely. He was witty, man. He was witty. He was smart. He was fast, and he was just, I mean, everything that everything that made us love him. I mean, I think he was like that, in a lot of ways.
So
it's for Elvis Presley.
That's the important part.
And that's the important thing.
I got one last question for you, then I promise we'll leave you alone.
He lies.
I've seen many.
I really enjoyed this. I can keep on telling you.
I've seen many of the infamous Rub It In videos with Bill Cherry after the show. Has Elvis on stage ever in your shows done Rub It In? So
here's what happened.
He did do it.
Now, we know Elvis did not do Rub It In.
Yeah.
And so we was on a cruise ship, and they was doing this after party thing, and I was with Bev, and I was like, man, I don't know what to sing. And she said, it was her idea. She said, hey, do you remember that Billy Crash Craddock song, that Rub It In? And I said, oh, man, I do remember that song. And she said, you should do Rub It In. She said, because we're on a cruise ship, right, and there's beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
Do Rub It In, they'll love it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm just dressed as me, right? My cowboy hat and however I dress. Mm-hmm. And so I got out there, and I did Rub It In, and they went nuts. Mm-hmm. I remember Dean was on the ship. Dean came over to me. He says, man, what was that song you just did? I said,
he never heard of it.
He never
heard of it because Dean's younger. Yeah.
Dean's not old enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, man, that was a Billy Crash Craddock song.
I remember that song too. That was a good song.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
And so that's where it started. And then from that point on, I mean, when I do Elvis shows, they're yelling, "Rub It In."
I know. Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's not really an Elvis song. We don't care.
They've seen you do it probably somewhere else.
Yeah, you started something, Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? I had no idea it was going to start anything like that. And so then they started. We was on another cruise ship, and they was yelling "Rub It In." So this cruise ship had a stage that would turn right in the center, and so we worked it out where. Okay, if they yell this song "Rub It In," actually we did it. We figured this out, not to do "Rub It In," but we did it to do, "I Got a Woman, Amen" thing, right? When I do that, and so when I started doing that, they turned that stage where it started spinning, right? And I think the fans call it the cherry go round. It got the cherry go round name because of that stage, right?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Well, I hope you don't retire for a long time, Bill, because you're
you know what? I have so much fun doing it, and I'll tell you, I do it again. I have fun with it, and I enjoy singing for fans like me, and I just I'm a fan just like them, and so all it is just a get together it's an experience, and my job is to, the way I look at it, is represent Elvis in a fun and respectful way that the fans will enjoy, without such a large variation from what Elvis did.
Yeah.
And the best I can to keep it real, and because you know what, at the end of the day, 2 and 2 is 4. It's not 6. It's not 8.
There you
go.
And so I try to keep it real within reason. And but again, I'm not in front of an audience from 1970. You have to, going back to Jaws, right? It's hard to get people excited watching Jaws when they've been introduced to slasher movies now.
Yeah, right.
50 years. So,
it's true.
You might have to, get a little more saucy than Jaws was to get a reaction. But, it's I do love it when people see it and recognize the originality of trying to stay true to what Elvis did. And they come up and they talk and they say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've had, the best comment I can get is people will come to me and they'll say, "I never got to see Elvis, but I seen him tonight."
Yeah,
you do it.
That's awesome.
And it wasn't. "Oh, Bill Cherry, you're the best. Bill Cherry. No. That doesn't do it for me. I want the Elvis fans to recognize that I'm doing Elvis.
Yeah. That's such a good feeling.
And I'm trying to keep it real, and I'm trying to keep it true to form, because, again, in my opinion, Elvis don't need no help.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing it right, Bill, because that night last year in Canada,
we felt that way.
TL and I are hardcore Elvis fans. We've seen all the ETAs, and we like a lot of them.
Right.
But when we saw you, we knew that's our guy. We knew that's our Elvis guy right there. That's Bill. He's doing it right. We saw the love. We saw the authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from the heart. It really does. And when I'm singing songs like "My Way" or something like that, or "And I Love You So," I really feel it. Let's face it. Elvis Presley was a human being just like us, right?
Mm-hmm.
You never heard him talk about his trials and tribulations in life, but I think he communicated with us, the fans, through his music to let you know, hey, this is what I'm going through and this is how I feel. When you do songs like "Separate Ways," "Always on My Mind," "And I Love You So," there's a story. If you'll go through those albums after the divorce, if you go through those albums and listen to him, he's telling you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Absolutely.
And all of us as human beings has experienced the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whether it's a divorce, whether it's a separation, whether it's this or that, we all have that in common. And guess what? Here's a guy that is high on the mountain. He's celestial to us, right? But yet he feels what we feel. He felt what we felt, he relayed that to us through music, and so it's just an amazing journey. And like I said, there's certain songs that I can close my eyes and I can hear him singing in my head. And really, I'm just singing along with him because he's playing in my head.
I can hear that.
I'll tell you what, Bill, if God allows people to peep in from heaven every once in a while, and Elvis sees one of your shows, he's going to be happy. He's going to be pleased.
Ooh,
absolutely,
man. What? Oh my God! It's such an honor to have the ability to play my hero for just a moment, right?
Yeah.
And again. I'm not Elvis. Nobody will ever be Elvis. Elvis is gone. But it's such a privilege and an honor to be able to relay that message and give people that experience, because they'll never have it again.
Nope.
He's gone and he won't be back. And so it's just an honor to be blessed to be able to do that. I never knew that when I was 6 years old, singing with these Elvis records and watching those movies, I never ever knew that one day I would have a career, make a career of that. Sometimes, and you've heard it, Danny, I know, because I have in church. You never know what God's plan is for you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I worked in factories all my life. I worked in a steel mill. I was a welder. And when I won the ultimate competition, I was actually laid off from that job.
Isn't that amazing?
And you know what? The job was dirty. It was nasty. they told you when you could take a vacation. They told you how many days you get. I mean, you was a number, right? And it was just another thing on their machine. But when I won that ultimate contest, and I never once thought I got this. I never once thought I'm better than these guys, and I got it. When I made the top 10, I was shocked. When I made the top 5, I was in disbelief. When they called the last 5 guys on that stage to announce the winner, and that drum roll happened, and they said, and in 5th place, I thought to myself, okay, here I go. Well, they called somebody else. And I thought, wow, I got 4th place. That drum roll happened and called somebody else. Then my thought was, oh, wow, I got 3rd place. I'm in the money. Then they called somebody else. And I thought, oh, my God, I got 2nd place. I got 2nd place.
Oh, my gosh.
The drum roll, the pause, they called somebody else, and it left me standing there.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, oh, my God, I just won this thing.
I was going to say, did it take you a second to register? Oh, it's me.
It was surreal.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, that's awesome.
I wish we could see the video of that.
Yeah,
there probably is one somewhere.
I think there is a video somewhere. It's kind of hard to find. You got to dig.
Yeah.
But I just never felt like I had it, and especially to win something like that, and from Elvis Presley Enterprises right there in Memphis. And I'll tell you, when you get in that competition, you're going up against, all of them has won a prelim.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So you're up against winners, right? And I believe there was 24 of them, I believe, and I won. And I have to tell you, I can't speak for it today. I don't know how they work it today, but I didn't know anybody. I didn't have no inside connection with anybody.
Wow. Yeah.
And they was, who was this guy? Where'd he come from? I label myself. Even Bev said it. Well, you're like the dark horse. You came in here and nobody ever heard of you.
Yeah.
This thing.
That's awesome.
And but I'll tell you, man. It to me, it was like the clouds opened up. God reached down and He pulled me out of the deep miry clay.
Oh,
and you know what I'm talking about, Dan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He pulled me out of the deep miry clay of that steel factory, and He gave me an opportunity.
There you go,
man.
man.
It was up to me if I wanted to roll with it or go back to that steel mill, because they tried to call me back. And this is destiny for you. Listen to this.
Wow.
I did some thinking. I'd been at the steel mill for over 10 years, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I need to stay at this steel mill, because you have insurance, all pension plans and all this. So I called the plant, and they was calling people back, and they called me, and I said, I'll come back. I said, but I just won a competition, and I have to do a couple contracts for shows, and if you'll allow me to do that, then I'll come back. And they said, yep, we'll work that out with you. So they put me down as coming back. They gave me a date. I went into the office. I went into HR, and I sat down at a desk. And as we was talking and filling out the papers, I mentioned it again. I said, so you're going to give me these days off because I have to, do these shows because I'm under contract. And the guy behind the desk said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Who told you that? And he said, well, we can't allow you to do that because this is a union job. And we can't allow you to do that. So I took that as a sign as to don't go back. Go ahead and follow this and see what happens.
Absolutely.
And I got to tell you, since 2009, when I won the Ultimate Elvis competition, my phone has rang. I've never had to search for work.
Unbelievable.
That's so awesome.
Never. If you, I mean, I have a Facebook, but you don't see me on there. You never see me on there trying to push anything, right? I never had to scout out work. It's always came to me, and I think that's a gift from God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He, like I said, he pulled me out of that. I wasn't happy. He pulled me out of that. And everybody has a purpose, right? And,
there you go.
And I guess my purpose in life was to do what I'm doing, because I trained all my life unknowing that this is what I would do.
Twin brother from another mother, I got to share something real quick with you. Another parallel. When I got out of high school, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. My dad was a union representative in Washington, D.C. He said, Dan, you want to come down here and work? I'll get you to work with some electricians. I'll let you work with the carpenters, and you can figure out what trade you want to do. I said, sure. So I got into the construction world in Washington, D.C. and was doing it for a couple of years, hated every bit of it. I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. But I would listen to the Don and Mike morning show on the radio every morning on the way to work. And I'd listen to talk radio and this and that, dreaming of being on the radio. So one night I was at a party with some friends, and one of the friends, it was where she worked, and she took me into the office where she worked. She said, "You should call the local radio station and talk like Elvis." I said, "Oh man, that would be crazy." She said, "Do it." So I went in. It was Christmas, and I called up WQCM, the local radio station in Hagerstown, Maryland. I said, "I'm in rock and roll heaven, baby. I'm Miss Priscilla."
Hey, that was good.
Thank you. Anyway, and I said, "I wish you'd play one of my old songs for me to make me feel better, baby." So the disc jockey played that song, Burning Love, and he said over the air live, "Elvis, I don't know who you are, but call me back." So I called the guy back, and 2 weeks later, I'm working weekends at WQCM Radio, and then a year later, I give up construction and go into radio. Now here today, I'm on a nationally syndicated all Elvis radio show with the most beautiful woman in the world who loves Elvis as much as I do, if not more. And we're doing radio, and now we're talking to Bill Cherry on the radio. So there you go.
Dreams come true.
We all have been blessed. I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
They can say what they want, but my take, there is God. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And He watches over us.
Absolutely.
And,
Brother, is there anything else you want to share with us before we end the conversation? Anything you want people to know, or?
Well, I would like to say that, again, I've been blessed for doing what I do, and I'm an Elvis fan, 100%, 110%, and we're looking forward to coming up to Niagara and having a great show and be around Elvis fans like ourselves, and have a great time celebrating the music and the memory of Elvis Presley. It's a great festival. And if anyone hasn't got a ticket to that, they really need to come out. And great people running it. Tony, I love him. Everybody there will make you feel welcome. And like I said, it's all about Elvis Presley.